Hello guys. So today we are studying CPC Code of Civil Procedure 1908, the book of D.N. Mathur. So this book is a great one. And honestly, it's the first day I'm reading CPC from this book and overall also. Okay, so I came across, I just read through with the preface of the book and the contents and I will be today giving you all the brief introduction to the book of D.N. Mathur Code of Civil Procedure, its contents and the background of Code of Civil Procedure Code in India and amendments which came and the present code which we have now for Code of Civil Procedure, which is of 1908. So the contents of this book goes simultaneously step by step according to the proceedings which take place regularly in the civil codes in India. So it has the introduction, then it tells about the code, then definitions, then some additional definitions which are not mentioned in the code itself. Then there is a hierarchy of codes mentioned, then from the institution of the suits to plain submission, then written statement, jointer, witnesses, affidavits, miscellaneous, all additions, then revision, appeal, revision and other mechanisms and judgments and how it will be given, all sorts of contents it's given in this book step by step. So I would recommend you guys to get this book, D.N. Mathur, for Code of Civil Procedure. Okay, so now we come to the introduction of Code of Civil Procedure. So first we will study about the background of Code of Civil Procedure in India. Okay, so the first Code of Civil Procedure which was enacted in India came in 1859. So in that, there was a first enactment in India for the Code of Civil Procedure. The second enactment which came in 1977 and the third amendment came in 1882 and the final amendment which we presently go through with and we follow in India is the Code of Civil Procedure 1908. So we can see the timeline and that there are 4 enactments that happened in India for the Code of Civil Procedure and presently we follow the enactment of 1908. Okay. Secondly, we will know about the present code 1908 and what sorts of amendments came in it and how many amendments came in it. That will all for today's session. Okay. So the first amendment in the Code of 1908 came in three stages. So the first one was in 1976. The first amendment came in 1976. Second one came in 1999 and the third and final amendment till now in the Code of Civil Procedure came in 2002. In 1976, that amendment was made through an Amendment Act. So the previous discussions for that amendment were made from 1951, then 1956, and finally in 1976, the Parliament of India came forward with the Amendment Act of 1976, which was the first amendment in the Code of Civil Procedure 1908. So it was a minor amendments that came through it. So the principle of res judicata was inserted in the Code of Civil Procedure and further some minor changes were made, some sections were abolished, some new orders were issued and inserted in the Code of Civil Procedure. The second amendment which came in 1999, so it mainly came forward through the recommendations of Justice Malimat report. Okay. So I would say that this amendment both brought some big changes in the Code of Civil Procedure and how the proceedings were conducted in the civil matters. So first changes was relating to the plaint. That is a memorandum which is submitted by the plaintiff party to the court. So it was made mandatory for the plaint to be given and submitted in the court in the duplicate form. And there shall be genuineness in the affidavits that is submitted along with the plaint. Secondly, the change was made in the written statement which is given by the defendant in the civil suit. So there shall be again duplicate submitted to the court for the written statement and the documentations along with it. Thirdly, affidavits. So affidavits and the oral evidences which is given in the court. So it used to take a long time and delays for oral arguments to be recorded in the court. So through this amendment of 1999, it was made mandatory to submit through the plaint, the affidavits and the chief cross-examination affidavits to the court. Further, these changes were made and appeals were changed and the judgments was made necessary to be given in a fixed period of time. Then the third amendment which came in 2002 in the Code of Civil Procedure. It again has not some big changes like in 1999, but it has some major changes which changed the provisions we follow now for the CPC 1908. What it proposed? It proposed the plaintiff to produce documents and pay requisite fees to the court for it. Then the defendant is to file a written statement within 30 days. The defendant now has to file the written statement in 30 days, and this provision was brought in CPC through the amendment of 2002. Then there shall be a chief cross-examination of the witnesses by the commissioner and further changes like it. Now, in 1999 amendment, it was also made a provision and authority to the Supreme Court to transfer the cases from one high court to another. It was not earlier in the original enactment. So this is all for today. I hope you now understand the background of CPC and the present Code of Civil Procedure 1908 and what amendments came and what new provisions the amendment inserted that we follow today. Thank you.